fella by the time they talk. Children are to be seen, not heard. That's how you snatch the no from the throat of a battered woman. You ain't cute. That's how you create a woman's thirst for artificial compliments. You ain't shit, just like your dad. That's how you teach a woman self-loathing. You ain't no better than nobody else. That's how you stuff a woman into a box. All of this negativity spoken over her life from birth to adulthood. That's how you create a beast.
Good morning, good morning. I'm back with you guys another day. I'm still trying to figure this podcast thing out. But I'm sure y'all seen my topic. Today we're talking about P. Diddy as the victim. So I wanted to talk about this from a different perspective because I know we have seen all the videos, we have witnessed this behavior, not to that extent, but we have witnessed a lot of people talking about his character, the way he did business, and a lot of other things that they have experienced dealing with him. So it's not new. And it's just like with the COVID situation. Everybody was fine until they named it. So sometimes when we name stuff and we get a visual stuff, then that's when we form an opinion of it. But it was all well and dandy when everybody was benefiting from it. So today I want to talk a little bit about him as the victim, just doing a little research and looking back on his childhood, the circumstances that he was born into. I feel like that groomed him to be the monster that he is today, because most definitely I think he's a monster. Me personally, never trusted him. I'm a type of person that I look at people's eyes. I never trusted his eyes. He never gave me genuine in nothing he did, but just based on his childhood, learning that his mama was an escort, not that her profession was something wrong. She was working with what he knew. His dad was a cat that was from the streets, so gang affiliated or just hanging with the drug dealers or whatever, but he had some affiliation. So I understand that type of environment because at some point I created it for my own kids. So just looking at the circumstances that he came from, and not only that, his mom not only being that, but the problem came when she exposed him to that as a child. See, it's one thing to be something or do something, but it's a way that you do something. But when she started exposing him to those things as a kid early on in life, that's not stuff that he probably was able to process but internalize. Then with his dad being murdered for being a snitch, so no doubt at some point in his life, is he gonna become that? Because I feel like when he go down, he's taking everybody down with him. I just personally don't respect men that hide behind money and accomplishments. So based on his upbringing, he was doomed to take on some of those characteristics and display some of that behavior. Because with being an extra, his mom being out there selling her body, doing things for a little change, or whatever the case was, then at that point I could see him as a man losing respect for her as a woman. So sometimes we deal with men who don't respect women based on the relationship they have with their mother. So when you don't have respect for a woman, then it's easy to mishandle her and treat her any kind of way. And I really believe Cassie was the victim. Yeah, she was the victim. But because he had trauma and life experiences that he never dealt with. And from that, the behavior developed over time, and nobody never looked at it because, of course, he's signing artists to his label, people getting money, they getting to live a lifestyle that they dream of. And sometimes with fame comes before identity. So sometimes we get the stuff, we get everything. So our trauma, our past experiences go on the back burner because now we could become whatever we desire we want to be because we have that level of influence and we get to hide behind all those things. So I think in that situation, that played a prominent role in how he showed up and how he handled business because he abused the artists. They probably never seen it as that because he didn't really put his hands on them. But he was abusive from day one. And he was a victim not only to his parents, his father, his mother, but the dude Clyde Davis that seen him, seen his insecurities, probably know what he came from and gave him that opportunity. That's why every opportunity is not good because he signed up for something that he wasn't ready for. He wasn't even bred for that. So once he signed up for that and that gave him that sense of power, everybody don't know how to deal with power. So from him having that influence and that level of power, I think it just grew so much because now you have the influence. Now people want to be a part of what you have because if we get real with ourselves, everybody want to be a part of something. Everybody want to be seen. So sometimes it's how you show up in those places that people see that you're a prey for them to be able to target you and groom you for certain things and certain behaviors. So I just think he was somebody that they felt like they could utilize and groom in this industry to pacify their agenda, because most people got an agenda, and I just believe he fell into something, and it goes back to we inspire women to pursue purpose from pain to purpose, because that pain and that stuff that we don't deal with is going to show up. The older people used to say, if it don't show up in the wash, it's going to show up in the rinse. So with him, it's now showing up because more people are dealing with these things. They just don't have the finances and influence that he have. But you got women that's probably looking at me every day on here, or women you work with, men you work with in these type of situations, that they don't have a safe place. And that's another problem. We don't create safe places for people. We are so judgmental. We run and talk about other people's business to our friends, not never considering they might be in that same situation. So when people don't find you a person that has empathy, and you really don't care about other people, it's hard for them to trust you with their pain. So I feel like with him having all that money, influence, and all the stuff, that he didn't have a safe place to land. Who was he gonna tell? He gonna tell that he might have been molested as a child, or he might have got exposed to women doing stuff to him that seemed to be okay because his mama was training him for whatever. Who is the safe person for him to tell that and sit well with him? So a lot of times, even in real life, we don't create safe places for people, and then we have to be careful with that safe place, because sometimes you'll find somebody you feel is safe, but as soon as you hit a space that they hide, or somewhere where they haven't dealt with that trauma within themselves, then it's no longer a safe space, because then they'll take your situation and make it messy so they still don't have to deal with theirs. So when I talk about him as the victim, I do feel like he was victimized as a child, and that led to the behavior that we are seeing today. And that's why, and for as Cassie, I believe that she was looking for something, just like a lot of our young girls today are seeking male father figures. And then they get with these guys and thinking that they supposed to father them. And a lot of these guys haven't been fathered. And I deal with that. I have 3 sons that I deal with on a regular basis in relationship. I have to often tell them when we talk about situations that they're in their relationships, and I have to explain to them when they dealing with females, that's an assignment. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the female don't know what she looking for. She don't know what her needs are. And you could mislead her if she's that vulnerable. And because you are a stand-up guy, you know, you working, you got stuff going on, females are gravitate to leadership. You know, we fall under leadership. So a lot of these young girls haven't experienced that. And for us women who have raised these sons to be stand-up guys, a lot of these broken females gravitate to that. And then when they don't get what they need from them, then they will try to sabotage that, the relationship, you know, and then they will provoke them to call them bitches or whatever, and it ain't no excuses, but that's the kind of stuff that broken females do, because they require attention, whether it's positive or negative. So if you're not nurturing me, if you're not loving me, if you're not giving me that based on where I came from, putting your hands on me might be a sign of affection. So you have to understand people's love language and how they show up in situations. So I don't know Cassie's story. I don't know where she came from. But what I can say is she didn't have a sisterhood. And she didn't have no real friends. Because when you have, ain't no way her makeup artist was scared. I mean, she could be scared, but it was somebody she could have told. See, we have to learn, even if we scared and we don't want to be the whistleblower, because snitching, you get stitches. And in certain situations, when you're a civilian, that stuff don't apply. I'm not going to ever have a friend that's in a domestic situation that I'm going to leave her there, even if she want to stay. If you my friend, if you somebody I deal with, even if you choose to stay in that relationship for whatever reason, it's going to be so much fear put into that man that he going to know not to put his hands on you again. So y'all going to work it out however you want, but being scared, intimidated in your own house is not an option, because you're raising kids, and we don't realize our children take on our trauma. You know, our children see stuff that we think we hide from them, but they see it because your energy, your behavior, and everything about you change when you are in the wrong situation. So your kids will start acting out at school, you know, or they become bullies, or they're in their room depressed, stressed out. You never know the effect of what our choices have on our children. So like I say, I don't know her upbringing, but I know it was something that she was looking for, and because she desired to be in the industry, she fell up under a man that wasn't healed and didn't know how to cherish her, didn't know how to separate business from pleasure. So he took advantage of her as a young girl. He took advantage of her, and I really feel that if she knew she had a safe place to land, she would have been got out of that situation. But most of the people who around him is yes men. You don't have too many stand-up guys that that's going to be there for a genuine reason to make sure you're doing right, make you accountable for your actions, not on your payroll. You know, it takes some real men to be like, man, I might be your security, I might work for you, but that right there ain't tolerated. You know, you can't, women and children is off limits. That's how I grew up. So nowadays, you know, everybody looking for a status or to be something that they're not, so we just accept anything. So I just came on here to say, because I know for a fact there's some women that's don't have that influence, don't have the money, don't have the resources to even leave those situations, don't know how to get the clown out your house, you know, and you're dealing with that. And just seeing that video or even hearing about that, you're traumatized with no support. But I want to tell you, it is support out here. It's ways that you could get out of those situations. And if you are in a situation where your house is captive by a man that refused to heal or deal with his own trauma, then you need to tell somebody. You need to tell somebody, and you need to get some resources so you could begin your process to healing, because you can't heal in those environments. And when you're dealing, and it goes for women too, because sometimes it's the woman that's creating all the trauma in the relationships. But one thing we have to understand, if it ain't meant for you, it's just not meant for you. And nobody deserves to be abused. Nobody deserves to be victimized in their own house. Nobody deserves to own what happened to them. If you have childhood trauma that's leading you today in life, those are the things that we have to deal with. Because you can't even come to your true self hiding. You can't heal from what you're not willing to expose. And a lot of times we are hiding behind a mask because we're not around safe people. You're not around, you can't trust even your girlfriend with your pain. I grew up, I couldn't trust my mama with my pain. So I held everything in, and I was so angry as a kid, all I did was fold. At the drop of the dime, I'm putting my fists up because I didn't know how to defend myself with words. I didn't have no coping skills. I didn't have no tools or mediations. I didn't have tools to walk away. I didn't have none of that. I couldn't trust people with my pain because anytime I told people my insecurities or something about that, they capitalized on it. They didn't see about me till I became an adult. That's when I started learning who to have in my life and who I could trust with my pain. So a lot of times we create them environments. When you at home and your kids see you hanging out with a certain group of females, and then they hear you on the phone talking about them same females to somebody else, that kind of stuff sit with your kids. You are developing character in your children. And because we won't be real with ourselves, even the behavior we see that's who we are or what we used to be, we don't even check it. So a lot of stuff that we do frame our children to be victims out here. So a lot of people get mad at me when I talk about this type of stuff, but it's the reality of it. If you're dealing with a sucker or a cat that's not being respected in the house, and you raising sons, what kind of sons you think you finna have? You are setting a tone to teach them how not to respect men. So what they gonna do? They gonna try to become a better man than that man you have in that house. So what they gonna do? Go get connected in them streets so they could get some power behind themselves. So we make a lot of choices as women that really define what type of children we're going to have. And then we have men that just don't respect women. So they don't really care nothing about you. They could benefit from you, but they really don't care nothing about you. And we can't change them. A man have to come to his own self and want the help. There's no level of resources that we could give him. I know females put guys on their medical insurance at work, lie, say they married, put them in position to get a job, do all this kind of stuff, but we can't change behavior. They have to make it a point to sit with themselves and feel like they want to do better for themselves. And a lot of times we expect too much from people. And when you see it on a celebrity level, we look at it on the surface. But if we really be real with ourselves, this is every day for some people. This is everyday life. We show up masked. We cry all the way to work. Then as soon as we get in the parking lot, you pull yourself together, get to the desk, and have to produce for somebody else. So we have to get out of that mentality of thinking that we owe people something. The only person you owe something is yourself. So you have to really get selfish. I learned to be selfish. I'm selfish with me right now. I care what people think about me, but I'm sure not going to let people mishandle me. I'm not trying to get people approval or none of that. I have to live free. And for me to live free, if it take me disconnecting from you, that's what's going to happen. If my truth expose your lie, so be it. I'm just at that place in my life, and I see so many people living this pretend life. You're not really living. If you got to lie, steal, and cheat to survive, you're not living. You're existing. So in order to live, we have to really gain some level of empathy and put ourselves in other people's shoes and stop judging, because we all have something. We all have a story. We all have stuff that we done snuck and did that haven't been exposed yet. Like I say, a lot of us are in these relationships that's abusive, whether it's mental, physically, financially. We're all doing it. Can't drop you off at work in your car all day, ain't doing it, put no gas in it, finding a way to smoke weed, get something to eat all day, pick you up, and you got to go home, clean, cook, take care of the kids and all. That's mental too. That's abuse. So it's a lot of stuff that we don't look at as abuse that's really abuse. But it takes for you to be able to desire more. See, when you desire more, then you start treating people how to treat you, teaching people how to treat you. And that's what we're lacking. So again, I just wanted to come over here a little bit and just address that, because it wasn't sitting well with me, because I kept seeing the ads, people talking about it, but nobody is really making it be the reality of what that looks like in our communities. You hear people, if you live in an apartment, you hear people fighting and all kind of stuff in these apartments, but that ain't my business. I ain't doing nothing. That ain't got nothing to do with me. And it does. It does have something to do with you. It's like your duty to check in with that sister, if you're a sister. When you see her at the mailbox or whatever, sis, you all right? I be hearing stuff going on in your apartment. I ain't trying to get in your business, but I just want you to know, as your neighbor, if you ever need me, hit the floor 4 times and then tap. I don't know. Give me a sign. Then that way I'll intervene, But we don't know what people need because we don't make ourselves accessible. And I'm just saying, moving forward, this thing right here exposed a lot of what's going on in real time. We just see it as somebody who's, a celebrity, somebody who's an influence, who had it, appeared to have it going on. But all the red flags was there. Mace, he talked about it. Everybody who dealt with him had something to say about his character. And you have to pay attention to people's character, because if not, you're going to experience the behavior. And that's all I got to say today on that. I hope y'all enjoy. Please support my YouTube channel and share. Y'all can look at the video, just like it and share it. This message might not be for you, but it might be for somebody else. But I just want us to, I'm serious about this growing from pain to purpose. I'm very serious about that. And if you're not there, that's fine. But just share with somebody else. If you're not in an abusive situation, then talk to somebody else about it. And show yourself friendly. So that way, if somebody is in that type of situation, they might see you as a safe place and could just tell you a little bit about what's going on. So enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate y'all, and bye.